Hello there, everybody. Welcome back to that advanced level course I promised you as part of So You Want to Be an Author Tuber. It's not going to have a workbook. It's not going to be nearly as long. I'm going to literally demo for you a walkthrough of how I build a stream using two things. I use Canva and I also use a little thing called DaVinci Resolve by Blackmagic Design. Now, I doubt my computer is going to let me have both loaded up on screen at the same time because they do take a lot of resources when working with video while also recording video in Canva. So I'm pretty much using Canva, and DaVinci Resolve to make all of this happen with everything. So this would be what my DaVinci Resolve pop-up looks like whenever I try to pull it up because I have previous videos I've worked on here in my little library. But we will need that later. We're not going to need it right now. I mostly use Canva. Now, mind you, let me put a caveat here. I have the paid premium version of Canva. So that means I have free reign use to all of their images and all of their templates and things. So, first things first, once you log into Canva and you're aware of whether or not you have the freebie version or the paid version, go ahead and check here in the dashboard. I search just YouTube video so that way I know it's the correct ratios and all of that as far as what the size of it needs to be, and it can handle the frame rate I need it to put out. You can pretty much in Canva download any still of a video as a PNG or a JPEG, and we'll talk about that much later. So whenever you go ahead and bring it up, it pops up in a new tab, a blank video. You can pick a template if you so wish. I like to start from scratch, and that's the way I'm going to show it for all of you. So here next to my name on the top colored bar here, it's the 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth thing in from the share button on the right. I'm going to give it a title, new live stream items, just a catch-all title. The first thing I'm going to do is build two things for myself. Also, kind of echoing something that I mentioned a few times throughout that course back in August and September, you can let people who are around your channel help you make decisions on certain things. For example, in one of my Friday night writing sprints recently, I used the chat poll function and I asked them a simple question. The question was this: Preptober and NaNoWriMo stream theme should be ... Fill in the blank with one of the options below. Now, the options that are listed on the screen, this is a screen snip of the poll results, as you can tell by the file name, right? So keep in mind, these are in a specific post-poll use order. Autumn like fairy glows, which is the theme I'll be focusing on today. Take us on a walk in the woods, pretty fall flowers, all the feast time foods, and I think that was it. Yes. So the winner, of course, was Autumn like fairy glows. So I'm going to keep that in mind while building this from scratch. I like to go ahead and film two things right off the bat. That's going to go ahead and be the overlay / the thumbnails I'll use to advertise and market it. I use them all the same for simplicity of my own sanity, honestly. And then the background that I use is the same thing, but with a little less text and items. So autumn like fairy glows. I have some things in mind under my uploads already. I'm going to go ahead and pull them. I got these items from Digital Curio on Etsy. You all see them a lot of the time. Yes, you do. I will need these frames later, not now. I'll show you what I do with overlays for them later. But I am scrolling down past a lot of uploads. Yes, I'm a little disorganized. Fairy glows. Well, that makes me think this for book stuff. I've been using these in other things. Fairy glows. These are the designs here that you see where I'm located at current on screen are to the Rebirth collection. Go ahead and check out my link tree if you want to know more about that. I'm probably going to need my Phoenix logo eventually. What else? What else? Fairy. Ooh, I've used this in some of my things for book 3, Bound by Vengeance in Mind with Frey and Lee. And I bet if I go into my edit photo mode here in the toolbar on the left-hand side, right underneath the undo arrow, I bet if I go under there and then click see all next to the filters button, I bet I can go in and change. Yes, there it is. Under the vintage, they have this antique, and it makes it a little more fall friendly. So I know with this little bit of a vintage touch, it'll be helpful. I probably, yeah, I probably will want another item for a background though. So I have all those items from Digital Curio and my own personal logo. Welcome to check them out for Digital Curio over on Etsy. And of course, you're welcome to use any of the elements in here that are a part of Canva. Either they're part of the Pro or they're a free item. Look for the little crown with the word Pro pop up next to it. Whereas if it doesn't have that, it's free. It's not part of the Pro. Anyone can use it. So we may come back to the elements portion here for some shiny, sparkly touch-up things later. I want to go ahead into the photos now that I kind of see where I'm headed with my fairy vibe aesthetic a little bit. We have that fairy glow going on for sure. Fall fairy, maybe? Ooh, I just searched that under the photos in Canva's library just to see what would pop up. And a lot of really epic, really cute things are available to me here. So what do I see? Some of them are silly. Some of them are definitely silly. I like all the sparkles. That's a little summery. Yeah, they're starting to get into like Summer Lagoon. Not exactly what I was hoping for. That one's okay. I really don't mind the pumpkins. Y'all are used to my picture of my pumpkin angel here, so yeah, you know I love the pumpkins. What else? Let's just make it fairy and see what happens. Okay, I'm not going to lie, that's cool. The feathers, they're cool. I wonder if I could work that in. Let's see. I'm going to right click the picture of the pumpkins with the lights. Set that image as my background. This pretty purple feather flower thing I found really does kind of fit the aesthetic better than that background does. Wonder if there is a better background. Montage mode. Let's go on a background hunt, shall we? Okay, everybody, welcome back. So I have a couple of different items I really like here. They're kind of similar. So let me pop to another page here, maybe, and I'll show them all off a little bit better, I think. If I spread them out, if you get what I mean, yes, this will be actually way easier. What I'm doing is I'm picking up the picture and dragging and dropping it over the add page button, and it automatically puts it onto a new page while making a new page. So, all right, here's the 4 backgrounds I found. I really like this one the most because it kind of looks like a table or a desk. What I'm wondering is if I can take some of the leaves out of one of these pictures somehow. Maybe this one, because I think it'll look the best with the leaves that are already here. You see what I mean? The feathers possibly not going to work. I'm going to delete that out of there. This might come in handy. And I'll show you what I'm going to do with my logo in a bit. So I don't need to delete out the background I'm not using. I'm just going to take the picture I want to use as my background and make sure it's on the page that I want to make it a background on. I'm going to right click and make sure I have only that picture highlighted. Then I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to right click off screen, unselect everything, and then I'm going to left click on the actual item I want as my background, right click it so I know it's the only thing selected, and then replace the background. And actually that doesn't look too bad. Does it, Moo Moo? I apologize for all the interruptions she's been causing here over the last little bit, but she's all right. So what I'm going to go ahead and do, Autumn Like Fairy Glows. I kind of like the idea of shrinking down this sparkly cloud we found. And it does look like a fairy glow. Okay, I know what I'm doing. I like this idea a lot. So I'm going to go ahead to my logo and go back into Edit Photos and use the background remover. It takes a moment or two for it to load. Perfect. I'm going to use the background remover to actually just take away the purple filigree that's around my Phoenix symbol here. I've been doing this a little bit as of late, just a different way of using my own logo in multiple different ways. You know, over time you start playing with different things. So go out of the background remover, give Canva a second to process it. Wonderful. And what I'm able to do is go ahead and stick it in there as the fairy. Perfect. Now I am going to change my antique back to a Vinto, so it does bring in a little bit more color and it's not so tan. Then I'm going to use the transparency waffle up here on the toolbar and just dial it back. Use the position button to click backwards so that way the Phoenix is up front, and I'm just going to shrink it down so it fits in there a little bit better. That doesn't look half bad. That doesn't look half bad. Now I can move the other set of books over there, kind of just out of my way. Hello, Miss Moo. Would you like to come up in my lap since she's being so insistent? 'Tis not anything but a stream-related item unless I go woohoo and let her make an appearance. You saw the light, didn't you? Okay. I can do this part one-handed for the most part. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure I highlight by just dragging and selecting over the whole little piece of the lantern and the books and the Phoenix. And once it's all highlighted and selected, a little option pops up to either group it, duplicate it, or delete it, or you have other options under the ellipses there. I'm going to go and click group because I want them to all hang out together. Then I'm going to go ahead and drag the whole item. You see what I'm going to do? Make it look like this little lantern is off to the side here. And then, do I want this other pile of books after all? It might be too much on the screen. It might indeed be too much on the screen for that to be possible. And that's totally okay. I do think I want to go and add more fairy dust stuff later. But remember I mentioned more importantly, I liked some of these leaves. These are a little too realistic. These kind of reminded me of the shape of the golden leaves that were already there to begin with. So I'm going to drag it back over to that first page. I want to flip it so that the leaves are on, yeah, I like them in that corner. And then I'm going to go into the transparency and just dial it back and overlay it over the whole screen. I'm just going to really dial the transparency back. I think that's a little too big. Yeah, that's a little too big. That looks better. I don't want the leaves quite touching the table is the thing. I have to drag it up a little bit. Yeah, I didn't want the leaves quite touching the table. But yeah, that doesn't look bad. Now I'm going to go also into the edit photo on it again with the see all and play with the colors a little bit under the color pop options. How's the minty? A little too green, a little too spring. The purple amethyst is not bad. What about this X Pro? A little too green. Ooh, the poster added a very nice, almost Christmassy feel to it. Not quite what I was going for. What's that amethyst do in the intensity? Now, if I play with the intensity of the amethyst, it doesn't look bad at all. It does give a slight hue of my purple branding color too to everything, which I like. I am going to go ahead and play with the position and put it all the way in the back. See, I do like it all the way in the back with the fairy lantern and books stuff kind of up front a little bit. And it also allows me to go into the Elements tab and click on Sparkles and just add some, see all on the graphics, some fun sparkles. I'm not looking for moving graphics. I'm actually, this is precisely the one I was looking for, was this purpley glow. I'm going to shrink it down. I just wanted a hint more purple since I took that purple filigree away. Add a transparency on and then move the position backward, forward maybe, and then ungroup the section and then move it. There you go. Now the Phoenix looks up front. So that way it does all get regrouped as well in together, and perfect. Stays together when I move it and move it back. So now I do kind of have this writerly book theme, but I think I do want a feather in there after all. I know I have under my uploads a feather that I've used in other items in the past from Digital Curio. So I have two options that I've pre-uploaded, both of them again from Digital Curio. Which one do I want to use? I think the one on the right, yeah, the one on the right fit the color motif. I just need to flip it. Yep. So it curls in, shrink it down, and then, oh, I see a gap, quote unquote, a gap in the, there you go. That would look really nice with it down there. And I'm gonna go ahead and put it backwards. Nah. Ungroup. Yeah, I should do that the other way around like I did previously. And then use the position, just move it back. Nope, still getting hidden too much. Okay. All right, that's fine. That'll work. Sometimes you got to play around with it and still have a couple of results just to see them. That's just me. So now we do have a little bit of a writerly feel all ready to go. I'll tie it in a little bit for the fall fairy glow feel. And this also is purposeful as far as doing stuff down in one corner versus another. It gives me room to put on spaces for my overlays. So I'm going to go ahead into the grid view in the bottom right hand corner and delete all of those extra pages that I do not need, and then close out of the grid view. So I just have my first page. Now I'm going to also go ahead and duplicate this page. Remember I said I use this in a couple of different ways, all right? So I don't want to lose any of this as it's being moved around. As I mentioned previously, I like to use my background and my overlay and my advertisement for the streams to all kind of look the same and be based on the same image. So after building my background, I now have 4 other images to make because I have a Friday night and a Saturday morning stream. I'll also have some double down day and virtual writing retreat things to add in here. So montage time again, it shall be. Let's do it. All right, everybody, welcome back. So I have a couple of different items here ready to go. I have the Friday Sprint with Us and then the Saturday Sprint with Us versions. They're all similar, not quite the same. I do like to keep them looking kind of similar to one another, but not exact. So nighttime one and a morning one. For virtual writing retreat weekend, I normally do a different schedule and the same for double down day. So what I'll go ahead and do when those days come is just based on these, make different ones. So say, for example, I'm running 7 a.m. is what I have in the past. I would go ahead and do one for each day with different times. So I might remove the Saturday, and that's just a matter of duplicating and making a new one on a new page if I so need it. Now, the last thing I'm going to do is go ahead and make my frames. I know I have this bottom lower quarter where I need to kind of keep this Phoenix item out of my way. And if I really want to make sure I get my dimensions right, I go ahead and I download a PNG version of my background page and then go to a new page in the same set when these stills. And once it's all downloaded, there it is. I go ahead and if it downloaded as a zip folder or anything, I go ahead and I unzip it and then just drag and drop and re-upload what I need as far as my background item goes. And it's going to take a second for it to upload into Canva as a single still picture. Then I go ahead and right click it and set image as background. Now what I use this for, notice I can drag and, drop and nothing moves. I don't mess up anything, right? It's a single still. I go into elements and I'm going to look for frames. I know there's a purple frame that is a rectangular frame I saw in here recently that I really love. So we're going to go ahead and hunt it down right quick instead of using my frames that I got from Digital Curio. As you can see, there's a ton of other frames in here that would have totally worked with this setup that I'm going for, but I think these frames that I'm picking will also look really snazzy. There we go. Just give it a little splash of glitter. Yeah, that's what it needed, was just a splash of glitter, and then I can send that backward. So that way this one's on top, and just make them sit friendly with each other. So line up their boxes. Crop it over. There you go. Now that doesn't look bad. Group it. And then I can copy and paste it with a Control-C and a Control-V. Yeah, and that will actually look pretty adorbs. Has a little bit of a Halloween vibe and feel, and I'll take the background out. Now what you need to do is download all of these, but they need to be different types of files for different types of things. My background, I'm going to actually go ahead and download it as a PNG. Okay, it'll take a second for it to download. I need also PNGs of the Friday and Saturday stream for the Streamyard end. Of these two on the YouTube end, they're going to prefer JPEG. So when I come back and schedule my streams in the future, I'll come back and download the JPEGs. But what I need on the very end of this one is to share, download it as a PNG, but I want a transparent background, and I only want it the current page I'm on, because that'll give it that overlay feel, so that way I can set my videos and things with it. And once I have all my files, then I'm going to go ahead into streamyard.com and log in. I also have the paid version of Streamyard, so mind you, you may have some limitations if you have the free version only. And if you have a Google account, which most YouTubers do, we can just easily go through and connect in, okay? So I'm going to actually go ahead into create, and I like to make what I call a skip for now test area. Okay, I don't want to connect it to anything is why I'm skipping for now. I just want to be able to go in and tell it it cannot have my mic and whatnot, because Canva does. I put in a phony name just to test with, okay? As you can tell, underneath my banners, I have some heart breathing sprints related folders, and then under my brand in StreamYard, I have Soul Squad Sprinters. This is where I house pretty much all of my background stuff, and as you all see, there's some familiar videos and things in there. I'm going to go ahead and make another video walking you through how I make things like this and other overlays I use that are quiet, okay? So keep that in mind. I'll walk you through how to do those in the next part. But today I at least wanted to get you to where you all could see how I go about adding my overlay, which would be not just the pretty purple frames I settled on in the end, but also it would be anything that I need to get out of there for Friday night and for Saturday morning, okay? You all will see the debut of these on Double Down Day, so you will see a slightly different one Saturday morning this coming weekend or weekend before this. So you will get to actually see these in action. I'm just walking you through as I build it all. So if you want to go ahead and see them, me actually use them, check out my sprints. So if I switch over then down to where the backgrounds are, as you can see, I have a couple of well, I guess you can't because I have an overlay on. Let me turn the overlay off. As you can see, I have a couple of different backgrounds that I've used over the last 6, 7, 8 months in there. I'm going to go ahead and add another background image of my picking. And it's going to be that still that I built, the very first thing you saw me build, okay? And it's in here as another background. I really don't care about file name changes, as you can see on my backgrounds. That actually doesn't look half bad. So I'm going to go ahead and see what it looks like with the overlay. Actually, that looks, I'm glad I went without the bubbles in the long end, in the long run. That looks pretty, and so does this one. It's a little different, right? I do not like this one as much as I thought it was. So I will remove it out of there, and we're not going to use that Saturday overlay anymore anytime soon. So yes, I keep Frey in here in case he needs to pop up, and our tech gremlin warning is also in here as an overlay, okay? So that would be the basis you would need to be able to build a background, frame in your overlays, and also actually make a matching little overlay that matches, well, your background so they look the same. Because really it's two different layers. Your background is going to be what's behind you. Your overlay is a foreground. So think of the curtain at the back of the stage being like your background, and this being the front of the curtain before the show, whereas the boxes are during the show. So if I want to make sure that my little overlay chat boxes here that I use for sprinting match up, I'm going to go ahead and click and see where my videos are. As you can see, I'm clicking different options that I have personally preset. You can go ahead and make a new layout here in StreamYard if you want to click the new layout button, or I'm just going to edit layout. And I know I'm going to have to do this with my video button as well, because it's telling me, hey, don't forget, even though you don't have a video element in here, lady, you need to make sure that this square thing up here gets attention. Okay, for those of you who are wondering how my screen does the switcheroony, this is how. I have two different overlay buttons here in the Streamyard, and I'm just making sure they're all laid up. An update, save an update. I'm going to go to the other one, and you see how my video went to the wrong spot, but I'm now going to edit the other one for the timer to make sure that our Sean Nanigans, who will be making another appearance with the timer, I will be making sure Sean Nanigans stays around for video timers. So there we go. Once you get them where they need to be, save it, name it, update it however you want. And now, once Sean's up here with me, it looks a little bit more seamless, but that's how I'm doing the switcheroony, is there's two buttons here on the Streamyard that I'm clicking. So some of the times what happens is whenever I play something like my screen switch, you guys hear and see this one. And I can be clicking buttons backstage and you don't see it. So those are a little bit advanced techniques, but in the next video, I'm going to go over, well, building more videos to replace these. So join us for another one. Thank you all for being here. Take care of yourself. Stop believing the lies other people tell you. I know you're worth it. Some time in DaVinci Resolve is ahead. I told you we were getting there eventually. Bye.